about her health. Also tonight, what we've now learned about the deadly police shooting. The young father who was deaf, shot and killed. Pouring through police videos, was he trying to use sign language when he was shot? The state of emergency, the wildfires tonight, also the severe storms hitting the middle of the country this evening as President Obama visits the flood-ravaged South. The uproar tonight, the student athlete who walks free, accused of sexually assaulting 2 of his classmates, the judge tonight under fire. And American families fleeced again? The life-saving medical device suddenly skyrocketing in price, and the big raise for the CEO.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with Donald Trump and his new line of attack on Hillary Clinton. Trump and his new team looking to cut into Clinton's lead with questions about her health and about the Clinton Foundation. And tonight, Trump getting some new fuel. A new report from the Associated Press looking at who got to visit Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State. The AP reporting many of those visitors were donors to the Clinton Foundation. Will the new strategy for Donald Trump work? With polls showing Clinton's strength in some key battlegrounds. A new poll out tonight showing Clinton opening a 16-point lead in Virginia. ABC's Jonathan Karl leading us off.
Opening up a sharp new line of attack, Donald Trump is now calling for a special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton's dealings with Clinton Foundation donors while she was Secretary of State.
The Clintons made the State Department into the same kind of pay-for-play operation as the Arkansas government was.
And tonight, an eye-opening new report by the Associated Press. When Clinton was Secretary of State, more than half of the meetings she had with people outside of government were with big donors to the Clinton Foundation. She met with 85 donors who gave a combined $156 million to the foundation. As Trump attacks Clinton's actions as Secretary of State, his new campaign manager has launched a sharp personal attack in a new documentary out tonight.
Her husband's problem is he had a casual relationship with other women. Hillary's problem is she has a casual relationship with the truth.
Trump, married 3 times himself, has often bragged about his own casual relationships with women, but now Trump is fielding tough questions on whether he is softening his hardline stance on immigration and backing away from his pledge to deport all of the undocumented immigrants living in the United States.
Are you really rethinking your mass deportation strategy?
I just want to follow the law. What I'm doing is following the law.
Trump even seemed to praise President Obama, who some Hispanic groups have criticized as the, quote, deporter-in-chief.
Obama got tremendous numbers of people out of the country. Bush, the same thing. Lots of people were brought out of the country with the existing laws. Well, I'm going to do the same thing, and I just said that.
Trump once said he would create a system to deport all undocumented immigrants, even families.
You're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely.
Now Trump says he will only work with the laws already in place.
We're going to go through the process like they are now, perhaps with a lot more energy.
And John Karl with us live tonight from Austin, Texas. And John, you know a lot of questions about whether Donald Trump will now pivot on immigration after once saying he would have a deportation force. And John, you have new reporting on what Trump just said?
Yeah, this is just in, David. In a town hall meeting that is scheduled to air tonight on Fox News, Trump was asked specifically if there could be some accommodation for undocumented immigrants who are in the country and have children here and who are otherwise law-abiding, and he said this, quote, there certainly can be a softening because we're not looking to hurt people. In other words, there could be some softening of his position that those people need to be deported.
John Karl leading us off tonight, John. Thank you. Meantime, this evening, Hillary Clinton fighting back on those questions about her health. Clinton dismissing claims by Trump and his surrogates that there's something we do not know. Trump also questioning her stamina. Hillary Clinton is 68, Donald Trump is 70. And tonight we ask ABC's David Wright what both candidates have revealed about their health.
On Jimmy Kimmel, Hillary Clinton laughs off Donald Trump's attacks on her health.
Are you in good health?
Well, this has become one of their themes. Here, you take my pulse while I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Make sure I'm alive.
Oh, my God, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. What can I say?
Trump insists it's no joke.
She also lacks the mental and physical stamina.
His top advisors are sowing doubts.
Go online and put down Hillary Clinton illness take a look at the videos for yourself.
I'm not saying that, she's had a stroke or anything like that, but this is not the woman that we're used to seeing that would come at you and get in your grill.
Clinton dismisses it all as conspiracy theories.
Back in October, the National Enquirer said I would be dead in 6 months.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
So with every breath I take, I feel like it's a
You have a new lease on life.
Yeah, a new lease on life.
It's funny,
I don't know why they are saying this. I think, on the one hand, it's part of the wacky strategy.
Here's a reality check. Trump is 70, Clinton 68. Either one would be among the oldest presidents ever elected. Both refused to release their full medical records. Last year, Clinton's campaign released a detailed 2-page letter from her doctor saying she's in excellent physical condition and fit to serve as president of the United States. It notes that in 2012, Clinton did suffer a concussion after fainting. Weeks later, she claimed to have fully recovered, but reporters noticed she wore special glasses. Her aides then explained they were for lingering issues stemming from the concussion. The only information Trump has released about his health is a 4-paragraph letter from his gastroenterologist describing the billionaire's test results as astonishingly excellent, adding that Trump would be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency. Today, Clinton was at a Hollywood fundraiser, posing in a photo booth with host Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel, now out to prove she's ready for the fight.
Can you open this jar of pickles? This has not been tampered with. This is...
You did get it. That was Hillary Clinton's late-night answer to questions about her health. David Wright with us live tonight. And is there any response from the Clinton team tonight about that new headline involving visitors to the State Department while Hillary was Secretary of State?
David, the Clinton campaign is dismissing that report, saying the story relies on utterly flawed data cherry-picked to give a distorted portrayal. They've been characterizing the work of the Clinton Foundation as noble, doing good in the world, saying that Trump's businesses, by contrast, only enrich himself. David?
David Wright with us again tonight. David, thank you. Now to the president in the disaster zone tonight, under pressure to visit communities affected by the deadly floods in Louisiana. President Obama consoling families, getting a first-hand look at the devastation. More than 60,000 homes damaged or destroyed. The president criticized for waiting more than a week since the floods hit. Donald Trump, who went 4 days earlier, today tweeting, "Too little, too late." ABC's Philip Mena in Louisiana tonight, where the president said this should not be about politics.
Tonight, President Obama reassuring the victims of the Louisiana flood.
What I want the people of Louisiana to know is that you're not alone on this, even after the TV cameras leave.
Touring the devastation, he met with officials and residents, dismissing criticism for not cutting his vacation in Martha's Vineyard short last week.
Give me a good, strong guy here.
Donald Trump visited 4 days ago.
Obama ought to get off the golf course and get down there.
The president saying today it's not about politics.
Nobody gives a hoot whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. What they care about is making sure they're getting the drywall out.
The drywall is already out at Carl Stewart Jr.'s home in Denham Springs. He says it's about time the president showed up.
You're our president. You should be here, getting things moving.
With a FEMA inspector assessing his damage, Stewart's neighbor, Michael Howell, says anything that keeps the spotlight here is good.
As long as they're here, it's all that matters. I don't think the time frame really matters.
David, more than 110,000 people have asked for FEMA assistance. Officials estimate it'll take 3 months just to clean up all of this debris. And schools here are delaying opening till next month. David?
Philip Mena. Philip, thank you. And one more note about the president's visit. While in Louisiana, he met privately with the family of Alton Sterling, killed during a confrontation with police. He also met with the families of 3 fallen police officers killed in Baton Rouge last month. We move on tonight into the state of emergency in the West at this hour. Massive wildfires burning out of control. We are also tracking severe storms set to hit in the middle of the country tonight. Flames burning homes to the ground near Spokane, Washington. Families forced to evacuate. Some now learning they lost everything they left behind. ABC's Clayton Sandell back in the fire zone for us tonight. Clayton.
David, these fires have left many people homeless here in Washington state. At least 40 homes and outbuildings now look like this. But we did catch up with firefighters right on the front lines, working very hard to try and save as many homes as possible. Now, across the West, California, Oregon, Wyoming, fires have destroyed hundreds of homes, and they're threatening thousands more. And many, many people are evacuated. And tonight, more firefighters are headed to take on a massive blaze in Yellowstone National Park. The park itself is open, but some of the roads in and out of Yellowstone are shut down because of the fire. David?
Clayton, thank you. And from those wildfires to the severe storms I mentioned tonight, from Minnesota to Oklahoma, flash floods washing away roads as drivers try to navigate through rushing waters near Santa Fe. As we also now hit peak hurricane season, tonight we are tracking several tropical systems now brewing in the Atlantic. Let's get live to meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all tonight for us. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. We'll begin with the severe weather. Damaging storms across western Iowa. Check out the radar. Those storms now straddling the border with southern Minnesota, and more storms popping across Kansas and Oklahoma. Tonight, we'll look for an explosion of these storms and through Minneapolis, and by tomorrow morning, Chicago could see some travel through that city. Could be tough. Now to the tropics. Tropical storm Gaston likely to become a hurricane tonight, but that will stay out to sea. Of greater concern is the storm approaching the northeast Caribbean islands. We're not sure about the strength of this, but the steering current should bring it somewhere off the U.S. coast by the end of the weekend, and water temperatures certainly warm enough to support at least a tropical storm, if not a hurricane. David?
Rob Marciano with us tonight. Thank you, Rob. And there are new developments tonight in the deadly police shooting of an unarmed father in North Carolina. That young father was deaf. Daniel Harris was shot during a traffic stop near his home, a state trooper opening fire, and there are questions from neighbors and family asking, was Harris simply trying to use sign language when it happened? Police now searching through dash cam and body cam video, and ABC's Lindsay Davis on a family demanding answers tonight.
Tonight, officials are searching through police dashboard and body camera video to find out why an unarmed deaf man was shot to death by police just feet away from his home.
Highway Patrol has been involved in a shooting.
Police say they were trying to pull Daniel Harris over for speeding, but he didn't stop for 7 miles until he made it home and got out of his car. Why Harris didn't stop is unclear. Eyewitnesses suggest he may have been using hand gestures or sign language with police.
That guy's deaf. He didn't even hear the siren. He didn't hear anything.
Harris, the father of a 3-year-old, was killed by a single gunshot, according to authorities. His brother, who's also deaf, says police aren't trained enough in dealing with deaf people.
If the officer had known that he was deaf, it would have ended differently.
At a vigil, mourners wrote in chalk along his street, "Justice for Daniel."
Authorities say they still need more time because so many officers responded to the scene. There's a tremendous amount of video evidence to pour through. David?
Lindsay Davis tonight. Lindsay, thanks. Overseas this evening, the Pentagon confirming an American service member has been killed in Afghanistan. Military officials say he died when a roadside bomb exploded in Helmand province. Another American and 6 Afghan troops were wounded. This is the first U.S. combat casualty in Afghanistan since January. And back here at home, and to a knife attack in Roanoke, Virginia, authorities say possibly inspired by ISIS. The suspect under arrest tonight, accused of stabbing 2 people at an apartment complex, picking his victims at random. Authorities believe he may have recently tried to join ISIS in Syria. All 3 are in the hospital tonight. We turn now to Massachusetts, and a judge's ruling drawing outrage tonight. An 18-year-old former high school athlete sentenced to probation, accused of sexually assaulting 2 classmates at a party. The judge saying the teenager should not be branded for life as a sex offender. Here's ABC's Lindsay Janis now.
Tonight, Massachusetts teenager David Becker, charged with sexually assaulting 2 of his former classmates, is free after a judge sentenced him to 2 years probation. Prosecutors had been asking for a sentence of 2 years in prison. 2 female students told police that they were at a house party with the star athlete in April. They said they'd been drinking and had gone to sleep. Both claim they woke up at different times to Becker sexually assaulting them. According to police reports, Becker told investigators that when one of the girls didn't protest, he assumed it was okay, and he denied having any physical contact with the other alleged victim. Becker's lawyer arguing the 18-year-old had no criminal record, did community service, and deserved to go to college.
I don't think he or his lawyer could have hoped for a better outcome.
It comes just months after the outrage over the Stanford rape case, where former swimmer Brock Turner, found guilty of assaulting an unconscious woman, was given just 6 months in jail. David, in the Massachusetts case, as long as Becker successfully completes his probation, he does not have to register as a sex offender and he won't have a record. David?
Lindsay, our thanks to you as well. And now to a new cyber attack under investigation at this hour, possibly from Russia. ABC News has confirmed federal authorities are now looking into a series of attacks on the New York Times and other American media groups. Authorities believe they were carried out by Russian hackers. They say possibly the same hackers who targeted the DNC. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday. The explosion involving a power plant, thousands without power at this hour. That massive fire and smoke seen for miles. Neighbors say they did hear the explosion. Outrage tonight over a life-saving medicine, a tool so many children rely on, a huge price spike for so many families across this country. And tonight we've learned about the big pay raise for the company's CEO. And the big moment caught on mic tonight. What one coach said to this pitcher on the mound. And we learned afterward that that coach just happens to be his dad.